What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Marko Stats, and today we not gonna react to anything. Today I'm gonna give you guys a story time. Now, as you guys know, I said in my last couple videos, I'm sick as hell right now. I'm fighting a sinus infection that I had for the last few days, and I'm fighting through it, man. I told myself I was gonna drop at least one video per day on my channel, so I'm fighting through it. But today I wanted to give you guys a story time because I feel like a lot of people don't know how crazy my story is, and they never really took a deeper dive into who is Marko Stats, what is my story, what is my reference point, etc. And today we're basically gonna talk about how I lost both of my parents before the age of 30. Um, So we're gonna take it all the way back. So I was born in Chicago, Illinois. I grew up on the north side of Chicago. My father is Nigerian. My mom is from Brazil. Right. My father had me when he was 50 years old. Now, my father got 5 kids, you know what I'm saying? He had his first kid when he told me that he had his first kid when he was still in high school, but in Nigeria, I don't know if they look at it different, but I just think that he was exaggerating when he said high school. I think that he had his first kid when he was like 19 or something, right? And then he had his last kid, my little brother, when he was like 53, 54 or something like that. So my dad has 5 kids, and I'm the second youngest kid on my father's side. And then my mother is from Brazil. Now, there's not too many Brazilians that live in Chicago, so that's pretty rare, what I'm saying, within itself. But on my mother's side, I am her first child. And my mother wasn't supposed to have children. For the longest, doctors told her that she couldn't even have kids, but then miraculously, what I'm saying, I was born and then my brother was born. But there's a documentary that's on my life too that's called The Uptown Blues that I could probably put at the end of this video or put inside the link. If you guys want to, dive like a little bit deeper into my life story, because I do have a documentary on my life. But so dad Nigerian, mom Brazilian. My mother passed away when I was 3 years old, and which was like very hard for me because at that age you really don't know what was really going on for real. I just remember I only have one memory of my mother, just one memory of my mother, and then it's kind of like a blur. It's almost kind of like I can kind of remember my mother, but then I can't really remember her. It's like bits and pieces of in my head, what I'm saying, that I try to put together, but the full picture is not there, what I'm saying? But I do remember being in her presence for sure, but I don't quite remember her character and certain things. I just don't remember because I was so young. And growing up without a mother was hard because damn near everybody got a mama. You feel me? Like, not now in the black community, there's not too many people that got fathers, but damn near everybody had a mother growing up. When I was growing up, at least. And growing up, at first it didn't really hit me until I'm slowly growing up and I'm noticing like, damn, I don't got my mama. And it's a lot of things that I learned late in life because I didn't have my mother. Just like simple shit, that people take for granted. I didn't learn until later in life because I didn't have that mother figure, that was guiding me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my mother's side, Brazilian side. I still don't even know too much about that side of the family, just because my mother was the only one that was in Chicago. The rest of my other family is uh, in South America, Brazil, and yeah, man, it was hard, just growing up, and it it traumatized the fuck out of me. You know what I'm saying? It traumatized the fuck out of me. You know, I can't lie and say that it didn't traumatize me. Um, I used to get not mad, but I used to get upset when I used to see all the other kids with their mothers and how much their mothers poured into them and certain things like that. And it took me a minute to even have a sense of confidence, to even have a sense of um, being in touch with my emotional side. Like it took me a minute. I'm even still learning on how to really control my emotions in a healthy way, and how to react to certain things, and how to to just be emotionally intelligent. That took me a minute to really understand, because I didn't have my mother. And she died when I was 3. Now, my father told me that he doesn't really know, well, they don't really know how she died, right? Like they said that the doctor pretty much gave him like a bullshit reason. They said, yeah, gave him a bullshit reason. And then my father even said that he tried to sue the hospital, because basically what happened was she passed away 14 days after my brother was born. And when she passed away, the doctors basically, just didn't know. And then the part that made it even more fucked up was that my mother was a nurse, right? So my mother worked inside hospitals, right? She was a black woman that worked inside of a hospital. And she died like basically 14 days after leaving a hospital. So it was just, like that shit just fucked up. And then, dang, I forgot what I was gonna say. Fucking, yeah. So she died. And then, after she died, like I said, that shit was so traumatizing that I really didn't know myself for like a long time. And then when I started doing research on just Brazil and like where my family truly comes from on my mother's side, I started to learn a lot of stuff. Like, did you guys know that there's more black people that live in Brazil than there are black people that live in the States? Look it up. There's more black people that live in Brazil uh, than they are that live in the United States. A lot of people don't know that. And a lot of people don't know that during the slave trade, a majority of the slaves were taken to South America. Like there were more slaves that was taken to Brazil than they were that was taken to the States. And that's one of the explanations why there's more black people in Brazil versus in the States. And I was just like, damn, I didn't even know that. So like my mother passed away, and then I found out that I'm a part of this lineage of people that was potentially taken from Africa, and took to Brazil. And and I didn't even, like I was just, just bamboozled. You feel me? And then I had no contact with my mother's side of the family. For some reason, my father just used to always be like, "Oh, I don't talk to that side of the family. I mean, like your mother's side of the family, like they just didn't keep in contact. they didn't speak English. They all speak Portuguese, and we just never really contacted them growing up. To this day, I don't know where my family is. So hopefully with this internet thing, I can find my family and I could be reunited with my family. Because as of right now, I still don't know where my Brazilian family is at. My mother has a couple friends that she has in the States, and I reached out to them to see if they know where my family's at. They don't know where they at either. So it's like this one person said that they were like in this one city and then they moved and they don't know. But apparently I have a big family that's in Brazil who they probably know that I exist and that I'm still alive and I'm still here, you know, and I look just like my mother too. So, but I just don't know them, right? So that's that. And then boom, I'm growing up without a mother. I'm fighting through the shit. I'm fighting through the shit. I'm fighting through the shit. And then about 3 years ago, I lost my father. Lost my father to cancer. So my father raised me. My father was a single parent. Now, he was a single parent of 2 kids that he was raising as an older man. Because like I said, my father had me when he was 50. He had my brother when he was 53, 54 or something like that, you know? And being a single father is hard, you know, and you know, like my father tried, you know, like he tried to remarry and you know what I'm saying, it didn't work out, you know, but I still talk to my I had a stepmother, you know what I'm saying? I got a stepmother, you know, but it didn't really work out between like her and my father, you know, but I still talk to her, you know, like she lived with us for maybe 3-4 years of my life and then, you know, like that ended, you know, but I still talk to her though, because, you know, that's still family at the end of the day. But, yeah, so my father passed away from cancer. You know, he had pancreas cancer. And he had cancer 3 times before he ultimately passed away. He had it the first time, beat it. Second time, beat it. The third time, it was just too much. When it came back, it was too powerful. And my father passed away. And my father, people say a lot of things about my father, but me and my father didn't really see eye to eye like that growing up. You know, like he did raise me by himself, but you can imagine being a single father is tough. You know, he got to go to work, he got to do this, he still got to live his life. He's balancing all of these things as an old man. It's hard to really make everybody happy or make everything work 100%. So, you know, growing up, me and my brother dealt with a lot of babysitters. We used to go to other people's homes, like other families' homes. Like, we used to go to this church that was in Evanston, which is like the north suburbs, and it was called the Vineyard, and it was like a Caucasian church, and I'll never forget, it was this Caucasian family that's called the Stringers, and my dad got real cool with them, and sometimes when my father, you know, just needed a break from us, he would send us over to their house, and the Stringers were very, very interesting people because they had a lot of children themselves, but they also adopted a lot of kids, you know, so they adopted a couple kids, I think, from Haiti. They adopted some kids from Cambodia, and they just had this like a whole bunch of kids in their house. So me and my brother would come over to their house sometimes on weekends, sometimes during like certain like holidays and stuff like that, Christmas, Thanksgiving, sometimes we would go to their house, uh, when my father was just busy or when he had too much stuff, too much on his plate, like he raising two kids by himself. He an older man, and sometimes we'd be there for like a whole week, just at the Stringer's house with all these kids that they adopted, their own kids. And shout out to Ben, you know what I'm saying? That was my guy, Ben from Cambodia. That was my guy growing up, like in a Stringer's home. And I remember this one time on Christmas, we were at the Stringer's house, and I forgot who asked me. I think it was the father or somebody asked me what I wanted for Christmas. And I had a GameCube, and I was a game head, and I just wanted that Madden. It was like the brand new Madden of that year. I was like, man, I want the new Madden. And somebody had asked me that. And me and my brother was at the Stringer's house for Christmas, and I just remember it was like so many gifts that was under the tree because there's so many kids in the house, so many gifts that was under that tree. And I just watched literally every single kid got a gift, gifts. And I remember after all the kids got their gifts, like they were like, hold on, we're not done yet. And I was just like, what? And then they told me to open the gift. So then I opened the gift, and it was the brand new Madden. And I was just shocked because that was the first time in my life that I got exactly what I wanted for Christmas. Because growing up, like we had it kind of rough growing up. Like my father didn't, he wasn't rich, and he was a single parent, like I said. So, for the most part, whenever I told my father that I wanted something, he didn't really get it for me. And sometimes he would try, but it would never be exactly what I wanted. It'll be he'll try to make it work, but it'll never be exactly what I wanted. So I just remember that moment. That was the first time that I got something that I wanted, like exactly what I said I wanted. I got it, and I just remember that. My father didn't like the fact that I started making music. He used to always tell me like son, you're so smart, you got all this potential. Why would you want to be a rapper? Why would you want to be an artist? You could be a doctor. You can go to Harvard. You could do this. You could do that. You could do that. And I just be like, man, I don't know. I just feel like this music stuff was just calling me at the time. I feel like it's still calling me to this day. Like, making music is not only, for me, it's not only about the money and about the career path or whatever, but it's a spiritual thing with me because I use it to express myself, express all of these dark emotions that I had ever since that I lost my mother at 3 years old. Like, to be honest, if I didn't have that creative outlet, I probably would have hurt somebody by now. You know what I'm saying? Or I probably would have done some crazy shit if I didn't have an outlet to express myself because I was going through so much and I was misunderstood. And I used to have a stutter. I used to have a really bad speech impediment. And I was, just going through all this shit and I just needed an outlet. And my father didn't really understand that because my father's Nigerian. He was born in 1945. So he's coming from a whole different world. Like he's just like, what the fuck is trauma? What the fuck is mental health? What the fuck are you talking about? Like what are these things? It was absolutely foreign to him. So he didn't understand that. The only thing that he understood was, hey, son, you're going to be a man. So you just need to focus on going to school, finding a legit career, stick to that, starting a family, stand on business. That's it. All that mental health and all that soft shit, like what the fuck is that? And that was basically how my dad thought. And and I remember uh growing up in my late teens and in my early 20s, um my father used to always be like in and out the hospital. He was always sick, or not like always, but when I got to like those late like teenage years, my father was always in and out the hospital. Like we would always have to go to the hospital to see dad because of like this health thing, that health thing. Because like I said, he was getting old. And I remember this one time, I don't think I was there, but I think my brother was in the hospital with him. And I had a commercial. I think it was I think it was the Lyrical Lemonade commercial. I did a Lyrical Lemonade commercial with Cole Bennett. Um, I believe it's on my YouTube channel. If it's not, then I gotta post it on there. Um, I think I put it as like a short or something like that. If you type in Marko Stats Lyrical Lemonade commercial, maybe it might pop up. But I had that commercial, and I had the nonprofit that I work with, Circles and Ciphers. They had a segment that was on the news, and it was one of those things, or I think it was both. But my father was in the hospital with my brother, and my brother told me like, "Yo, like dad just seen you on TV," and he was just like, "What the fuck?" So it was like before my father passed away, he was able to see me on TV, and when I got that Nike deal and I told him and I showed him the commercial that I made, I remember his first response. He was like, "Is that you? Or is that LeBron James?" My father was a big basketball fan. When I was a little kid, he used to force me to watch Michael Jordan. He used to be like, "Yo, like this is the guy." And yeah, like I'm trying to remember. Like this was back when like Michael Jordan, it was like at the very end of his career type shit. When he was on the Wizards and stuff like that. I remember watching Michael Jordan's final All-Star game. I remember watching that with my father and just watching like different games of Michael Jordan. And then my father just be like, "Look at this Michael Jordan guy. Like, look at this guy. You got to watch him." And I just remember that. And my father, he always taught me that I could do anything, that I'm great, that yeah. He always told me that if you put the work in, you could do anything. And he instilled that confidence in me to a certain extent. And I was rebellious. I ain't gonna lie. I always been a rebel. I just always had to do things my own way. And like I said, that's how me and my father always clashed, because I feel a lot of sons usually like they follow in the footsteps of their father, most sons. But me on the other hand, I didn't necessarily follow in the footsteps of my father. I created my own path. I started making music. I don't know anybody in my family that makes music except me. So I literally started my own path. And my father just didn't understand that. He used to tell me things like, "Man, where did you come from?" Because everything I did was just so different from what he did. Because we from two different worlds, but we family. We the same blood. And yeah. But through it all, I never talk shit about my father, man. My father was an extraordinary person, and he helped a lot of people. He helped a lot of people. When he had his funeral was packed, and there were so many people there that had wonderful things to say about him, and it was just a testament to his character. He was hard on us, but he was hard on us because he wanted us to win, and he knew how hard it is being a black man in the world, and he wanted to prepare us for that the best way that he could. And he was really passionate about that. He was really religious. He was a Christian. He went to church every Sunday. He prayed every day. He always wore a suit. He sold insurance for 40 years. He sold insurance. And then another interesting fact is that after he sold insurance, he opened up a grocery store, a supermarket. And he opened up a supermarket that he had for like 2 or 3 years before his business went bankrupt. But his grocery store was worth around $3 million. His grocery store was worth like $3 million at the height of it. And then he went bankrupt because this was during the recession, the Great Recession of like 2007, 2008 or something like that. He lost his business. And he told me he thinks that he lost his business because he was a black man that owned a grocery store inside of a neighborhood where there weren't too many black people. So he felt like they sabotaged him, like they set him up for failure off the rip, and he didn't realize it. What the fuck? But there was a lot that I learned from my father. My father was, my father was something, man. But losing both of my parents has really taught me that. It taught me a lot. It really gave me strength. It gave me a lot of strength. It gave me a lot of it made me more spiritual. This is the most spiritual that I ever been in my whole life, and I feel so connected to the source. And I know exactly what I have to do now. My purpose makes sense now, and I feel like I know exactly what I have to do in life now, and I know what direction that I got to take now. And I feel like God, he made me go through that to make me a stronger man, to make me a stronger father for my daughter, you know what I'm saying? And for my future children, future other children that's not born yet. And it sucks. It sucks sometimes not having that sense of guidance, that sense of support from a mother, from a father, from even grandparents, because I never met I met my grandparents on my Brazilian side when I was a baby. I went to Brazil when I was a baby for like a few months, and I met my whole Brazilian side, but I haven't seen them since then. But I didn't know my grandparents for real. My father's parents passed away when he was a kid. My father didn't even have his parents. My father was raised by his auntie and family friends and stuff like that. So like I said, losing both your parents before 30 is definitely it's mind blowing. Like whenever I get real mad, or when I get, frustrated, it's like I just be because it's just like damn, you feel me? And it's like sometimes, and that's why I try not to get mad, because when I get mad, I'll literally just blank out, and I just start thinking about my mother, and I'm like, damn, G, why the fuck my mother have to die? And and I get into a really dark place. That's why I try not to get mad because I never want to inflict any pain on anybody, especially my loved ones. Um, but like sometimes it'd be like a dark voice in my head, like, ugh, inflict that pain, you know. So, but that's pretty much my story. I know that there's probably a million things that I forgot, but that's pretty much the gist of it. That's how I lost both of my parents before the age of 30. Um, I'm not gonna edit this video. I'm gonna keep it all the way funky with y'all, and yeah. Shout out to anybody out there that lost one of their parents, that lost both of their parents, whatever it is. We gonna get through this together, and I wish y'all the best of luck. I'm sending y'all love, sending y'all prosperity, wealth, etc., etc., etc. Because it's hard, and people be forgetting, and I think it's because I'm not the type of person to always speak about my struggle, that a lot of people forget that I lost both of my parents, and a lot of people don't really check on me for real and be like, "Oh, I'm just checking on you to see how you doing. I know that you lost both." Like, people don't really do that for real. And I know that everybody got their own shit going on, but like, people don't really do that for real. So like, you know, um, it's just one of those things. But if you can relate, comment on this video, like this video, click that notification bell. What do you guys think? Have you guys lost y'all parents? Have you lost a parent, a mother, a father? I know how it feels. So I'm with you. But till next time, y'all know who it is, man. Marko Stats. Swayze. Peace out, y'all. Love y'all for real.